Hey there. So you're thinking about moving to Parkville, Missouri. Well, in this video, we are going to talk about some pros and some cons to living in Parkville, Missouri. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you my biggest pro and my biggest con, and we'll talk about those just a little bit side by side. We're going to get started right now. Hey, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you want to know everything there is about living and moving to the Kansas City area and places like Parkville, Missouri, then click subscribe, hit the bell so you can be the first to know the current market here in the Kansas City metro market. My name is Zac Morton. My business partner Max Jones, the team, and I have been helping people move into Kansas City for over 20 years. We absolutely love it, but you don't have to take my word for it. See what our clients have to say with over 600 5-star Google reviews. So whether you're moving today and you just landed, or 3 months from now, pick up the phone. You can give us a call, text, email, even schedule a Zoom. All that information in the description below. So, like I said, today we're talking about Parkville, Missouri. Kansas City has a Kansas City, Kansas side and a Kansas City, Missouri side. And today we are on the Missouri side, and we're in a little town called Parkville. This is located north of the river, is what us locals say. There's a north of the river and a south of the river, so Parkville is north of the river. All right, Parkville, Missouri is a smaller city on the Missouri side. The population for Parkville is coming in right at 8,300 people. I know what you're thinking, like, what? That's teeny, and only 15 square miles. But I think what most people are thinking when they're like moving to the Parkville area is they're actually trying to get into the Park Hill School District. So we've talked about this in our vlog and we go into some more details there. But just to give you some basics, the Park Hill School District, which also covers Parkville, is actually 75 square miles versus 15 square miles and has a population of 74,000 people versus 8,000 people. So when you look at it from that perspective, you see it's actually a very sizable city here in the Northland. But you do need to know the difference. If you're actually going for that Parkville, it's a little more prestigious address. We'll get into some more details on that. But there is a difference between Parkville, and the Park Hill School District, which is going to get you into that. So that's my first pro, is schools. Parkville our Park Hill School District serves the Parkville area, and that is an A+ rated school district. There are 3 high schools in Park Hill. There are 4 middle schools and 11 elementary schools. And across the board, they all get raving reviews. I'm a product of, not that that says much, but I'm a product of the Park Hill school system through high school. And it just continues to grow and has been great. And all from niche.com, greatschools.org, everybody's got it very highly rated. And in the Northland, it's one of the top 3 school districts that most people are looking for. And that is on the Parkville side. So that's my first pro. Pro number 2 is I say we because I live in the Park Hill School District, but we have got some of the top neighborhoods in the Northland. Even though that's a small footprint, that Parkville area, they've got lake communities. They've got some very prestigious golf communities. We've got neighborhoods with just nice houses, that just pools everywhere and super kid friendly. And then there's just a mix of everything in between. But some of the nice, well set up, like our golf community. If you check out our vlog again, we take you through there. And like for instance, not only do you have golf in your backyard, but you've also got the pool, the clubhouse. You can get different plans where you've got access to go down and have dinner at the clubhouse every night. There is a little cafe at the entrance, Roxanne's Cafe. So for breakfast Saturday morning, you hop in your golf cart and drive right to breakfast. And just the list goes on. So set up really well. Same thing with the lake communities. The lake community, Riss Lake, was brought about in the 90s, I believe. It's a beautiful lake, very well planned out, nice large houses. It's a private lake. You can only have electric motors on there, so it's kind of geared towards being quiet and peaceful. And instead of having houses right down on the water and all you see is houses and then people, everybody's set back a little ways with trees all the way around the lake. So it's more of when you're out there, it's like being up in the mountains on a private lake. So Really has a nice feel to it. And then the neighborhood has several swimming pools, volleyball courts, pickleball courts, tennis ball courts, all the list goes on. And I think the HOA out there is like $1,000 a year. So what you get for that is pretty exceptional. And all these neighborhoods, since we're talking about a footprint of 15 square miles, you are still going to have access to your Sprouts, which is the organic grocery store here. You've got Hy-Vee is our local grocery store, Price Chopper, and then Aldi's is kind of new to the scene here locally in the last couple of years. So you've got a lot of grocery options, and it's all right there in that hub. You're also, with all these neighborhoods and Parkville, you're really close to I-29 and 435. So that's the pro number 2. Pro number 3 I have on the list here is there is a university, Park University, which is right by the downtown Parkville. It was actually one of the first things that they constructed, or the owner, George Park, was wanting to build after he had his house built and some other stuff on Main Street, was the university. So it's a private college. It's a beautiful campus there. If you check out our vlog tour, we've got some secrets. We kind of take you around there and show you around. I'm not going to give it away on this. But let me tell you what, so Park College's featured programs and what they say about themselves is we offer a career building degree program to help you chart a clear path to better future. Exploring your options with us today. Here are some of the featured undergraduate programs to help you get started. They've got business administration, criminal justice, geography, information and computer science, psychology, and sports exercise science. So that's kind of what they're boasting, and that's right here locally on a beautiful campus overlooking the river, right next to downtown. I can't say enough great things about that. All right, number 4 is crime rate in Parkville. So crime rate is super low. I've got this graph on my computer. I'll have you guys pull up, and as you can see, Parkville is the yellow line, or the orange line on the bottom here. And then you've got Missouri is the blue line above, and USA is the black line. So as a whole, very safe, far below the other averages. And Parkville is a place where I would walk anywhere at night. So, you know, there's always weird things that happen, but I feel totally safe here. And I think you would too. So crime and safety are on my pros list. All right, next on my pros list, or whatever number we're on, the next number is the downtown area and the number of events that Parkville puts on all year round to keep all of us entertained in a very attractive riverfront town. So it is right on the river, Parkville, and actually the old Main Street, it was started because there was a post office there on Main Street, and George Park owned that post office, and eventually, like in the 1840s, when they decided to become Parkville, they named it after George Park, patted himself on the back and said, hey. So even though there is a park down there, and lots of people that live here think that's why it's called Parkville, there's a massive park right on the riverfront, which is amazing. It's actually because of George Park, and that post office was in operation on Main Street until 1969, when they decided, hey, we need more space. Parkville's growing, the surrounding area, so they moved it just behind. There's a big, more modern building that they put the post office in, and now Main Street is full of shops, restaurants. There's a little knick-knack place there. There's a guy take old records when we go into houses, and you know, there's odds and ends, things that are collectibles. We'll take it down there, and they sell and buy and do all that kind of stuff. Clothing stores. My favorite, well, one of my top 3 Reubens at all time is at the Crack, which is down right on Main Street. You can go in there and get a pint, this Irish pub, and oh, it's amazing. And then their trick, I think what it is they use Wagyu beef on their Reuben and then just load it with sauerkraut. So anyway, I'm making myself hungry, but check that out if you get down there. And there's also Stone Canyon Pizza, lots of little restaurants, lots of little things to do down there. There is a little bit down the road from downtown, there's a shooting range called Parma Woods where lots of people go out. You can shoot pistols or rifles, and then they have an archery area down below as well. Back to the Riverfront Park, where I know I've done a 5K there, so I know the track's over a 5K, and it's concrete, crushed gravel, right by the river. In the middle of that and throughout that is a disc golf course. They have pickleball, Also, they have heated bathrooms that are out down by the park that are open all year round, which is nice. There's a boat ramp if you want to drop your boat in the Missouri River and do some fishing or boating, access to that. A couple dog parks down there that are really nice and pretty massive. And just people out enjoying. There's a railroad that runs right through there that's really active. A lot of time you'll see coal running out to the power plant. So the train, when we were down there for our vlog tour, within like an hour, I think 3 trains rolled by. So very active downtown area with shops. There's a guitar shop. Actually, that was one of my first jobs, was at Bentley Guitar Studios, but no shortage of things to do. And it's kind of a small downtown. There's really just maybe 2-3 blocks of little activity stuff like shops and buildings. And then the rest of it's gonna be the riverfront park, or walking up to the campus and kind of strolling through that. But it is on a hill. Parkville is kind of cut. The river runs right through there, so as the river meanders back and forth across the floodplain, or whatever you call that, the river basin, it just kind of ogged all that out. So Parkville's kind of set up on this bluff or a cliff, and one of the cool subdivisions right behind it, if you're down there, if you're looking for housing, is the Bluffs. Super cool neighborhood where everything's different, kind of feels like you're living in the mountains. Everybody's got it secluded, sitting on like acres of tree lots up on hills. Everything's unique, no cookie cutter houses. So it's definitely worth a drive through, even if you just want to see some cool houses and take a windy road through the hills. But that's kind of the setup for Parkville. So back to the list of things to do that Parkville throws in their downtown. I'm going to read off this list. Things to do for 2023, and most of the stuff is year-round, but they've got the Valentine's Day promo in February. They've got the Shamrock Stroll in March. We got Meet the Easter Bunny, which is in April. Parkville Micro Brew Fest, which this is an amazing event if you're into local beers and tasting beers. They'll have all kinds of vendors laid out, and especially if it's a nice day, it's an outdoor event. So that's definitely worth something checking out. There is the Farmers Market that's open all summer. They've got a big shelter down there with lots of parking, lots of space, easy to get in and out of. Go get your local produce. You got Mimosas on Main that they do on Mother's Day, and then All Ale Day for Father's Day. There's the 4th of July celebration. There's Hot Summer Nights, and that lasts a couple months. There is Parkville Days Festival, which is a week. Paint October, or Paint Parkville October. There's Halloween Trick or Treat. There's Small Business Saturday. Christmas on the River is another big one that pulls a huge crowd with live music. Everybody's all huddled up and cold, and Santa Claus will be out there on the stage and all kinds of stuff. Horse carriages, and just you name it, it'll be down there, and it pulls a huge crowd. Let's see, Gallery of Trees, Parkville Cruise Night. That's where everybody in there are hot rods. They do that a few times a year, but if you have collector cars or cool cars, where everybody just gets down there, it's kind of nice. The riverfront has a huge parking paved area, so they can do a lot of these big events. And then they also have a carnival in the summer. I think that's Parkville Days we just talked about. They'll have the Ferris wheel out there, little roller coasters and rides, corn dogs, cotton candy, all that kind of stuff. And they can pull that all off in Parkville, even though we've got that small footprint. He said it pulls kind of the whole Parkville school district. So it's really that small town feel with the big city vibe, because you've got all that right around you. So that is just the downtown Main Street to-do event schedule for this year. All right, and last thing on the to-do list is there is a water park, Tiffany Springs Water Park, which is a water slides, pools, lazy river. There is a whirlpool and all that water park stuff. It does get hot here. That takes us right into our cons. Is con number one, the weather. So we get all 4 seasons, and we get them fully here in the Midwest. So depending if you're from the East Coast, West Coast, Chicago, or Texas, you may not be used to our Midwest weather pattern. So I do want to touch on that real quick. Full 4 seasons, we get them fully. Our summers are hot and humid. So, and especially for a couple weeks in July and August, it gets pretty brutal. And we beat the heat by going to water parks, going to the lakes, playing out, staying inside in the AC, going to watch a movie, and staying close to water and staying cool. So we've got that. In the winter, it gets bitterly cold for the same probably a couple weeks. But for the most part, we see temperatures, you know, freezing at night, above freezing during the day. And that's pretty much, you know, January and February are our coldest months. And then rolling into March, you can have 70-degree days, but then you can still kind of freeze at nights. And then get into April. That's our springtime when, you know, flowers start blooming. We see a little more rain that time of year. Usually by 4th of July, the rain's done. It's hot and summer and muggy. And then fall starts kicking off about October. The weather's beautiful, it's dry, bright blue skies, the leaves are turning. It's just amazing. And then, you know, December it can start to snow a little bit. Snow around here isn't very much. We usually get about 3 snows a year, 2 to 6 to 8 inches. Shovel your driveways a few times, and that's about it. It melts off within a day or two. Back to normal. Really the only thing you need to worry about here that is dangerous is just driving on black ice. We have road crews that go out here. We can use salt and sand on our roads. They do a really good job, and a lot of times they'll pre-apply salt. They'll put out a liquid salt on the roads before they know if an ice storm or snowstorm is coming. So it really preps that and never really allows the snow or the ice to build up on the streets. So that's something, and they do a really good job with it, and just something to keep in mind. Number 2 on my con list is shopping. So although we have a lot of grocery stores, and I keep saying I live here like I told you, although there is a lot of grocery stores options right here in Parkville and even in the Parkville School District, there's not a lot of shopping options. So that's just something to keep in mind. There is a couple there's a place called Zona Rosa, which is a little shopping area that's kind of an outdoor mall. It's gonna have a couple restaurants, it's gonna have a little park. It's actually set up really nice, but if you're just going out and you want to do some, you know, hit everything in one spot, that's not really what Zona Rosa is designed for. It's more of clothing, restaurants, stuff for kids to do, and then the outdoor park where they'll have concerts, so you can kind of grab a beer and walk around and watch some live music, and just a place for kind of the community to hang out, but not really a great place to, you know, if you want to go furniture shopping and clothes shopping and try to find this and that. And it's, you know, Parkville really isn't set up for that. So it is smaller, and that's probably why. So there are other cities you can drive to. Kansas City is really easy to get around in. It is all in all, you know, it's a sizable city, but it's spread out. We don't have a lot of traffic. So if you want to get like down to Overland Park, has some amazing shopping, and you can check out our vlog tour on that, where we take you down to that district, the town center, and it's just shop after shop after shop. So, and that's like 30 minutes away. So you can get to any of this stuff within about 30 minutes. But Parkville, just to throw that con out there, it does not have a lot. And I kind of think that's a pro, because it just keeps more money in my pocket. Plus everybody shops online anymore. So, you know, what the heck. Number 3 on my list is just size. That's my con. It is small. Parkville is small. It's got, you know, 15 square miles, and what they've jammed into that 15 square miles is really nice and wonderful and amazing. And if you live in Parkville, I guess this could be a pro to the con. And anytime you're in Missouri, if you're on the Kansas City, if you're living in Kansas City, Missouri, or you're working in Kansas City, Missouri, there's the e-tax we talk about, and that's the earnings tax, where they're gonna take 1% of your income. But by living in Parkville, Missouri, you are not responsible for that. Now, if you work in Kansas City, Missouri, like most of downtown is Kansas City, Missouri, a lot of the office buildings. So if you're working down there, then that doesn't totally get you out of it. But if you're not, if you're working in Parkville or you work from home, then that's just another perk to Parkville. The downtown, on size again, the downtown is kind of a small area. I think it's nice. It's pretty easy to get in and out of, but there's just one main street. Like I said, maybe another block on the side that's got some stuff. People never really get over there. So just pretty much one main street in the park, which is nice. It keeps it simple, has that really small town feel. But it's not massive. It's just not a big downtown area, but I like it. It's quaint, it's quiet. Get in there, hang out, have a good time, relax, do some people watching, and a great spot for that. All right, so now we are to the part where I told you I'm gonna give you my biggest pro and my biggest con side by side. The battles of the pros and the cons. And the biggest pro, let's keep it positive, is location. So this is located just north and west of Kansas City, right on the river. So it is a river city. If you could throw a rock across the river, you'd land in Kansas. So we're just on the Missouri side, so really close access to Kansas. But then also you're only about 12 to 15 minutes from the airport, which I love being close to the airport. When people fly into town, so they don't have to take an Uber or whatever, or get a taxi, as soon as their wheels hit the tarmac, like the plane hasn't even pulled up to taxi, if they call me, by the time I get up there in 10, 12 minutes, they're walking off the plane with their bags. We got a brand new airport at Kansas City. It's running super efficient. Lots of restaurants, so definitely if you're flying in to shop for some real estate, maybe stop there. We've got a lot of the local barbecue spots and a lot of Kansas City restaurants that are right in there. Not that I'm pushing airport food, but if you're coming through town, it's worth checking out. So location, it's just easy to get to the airport. It's easy to get downtown Kansas City. We're talking 12 to 15 minutes, just, depending on how deep into Parkville you are. Super easy to get everywhere. It's not overpopulated. Like I said, with a population of this school district of 75,000, that's a lot smaller than some of the other cities that we've talked about. So a fantastic location. And now we're seeing a lot of growth in the Northland. For the last 20 years, they've been building in Kansas for various reasons. So just kind of building south of the river and keep getting further away and further away to the south. And now that's starting to shift gears a little bit. They're starting to develop a lot of land in the Northland. We're starting to see an explosion in growth up here. So a great time to, get in, settle in, because it just keeps getting better every day. The amenities that we get up here in the north just get better and better every day. So the con is cost of living. And what I had found was that when you just look at the numbers according to niche.com, they've got Parkville at 120% of the national or the US average on cost of living. So 20% above the average city. And what I found when I started to dive into the numbers and dissect that a little bit is the one number that was really throwing it off was housing. Every other number, was with 2% high, 2% low, just kind of right at that average. But the number that threw it off was housing at 160% of the national average. And to give you those numbers specifically, I pulled some data straight from the MLS. So for that small Parkville area with 15 square miles, 8,300 people, we have a median price point of $480,000. So that is pretty high. And if you look at, let me pull up this graph, right? Not that one, this one right here. If you look at this graph that I have on the computer, Parkville is in this dark maroon, and yeah, look at that. It's way up there. It's one of the most expensive spots to live north of the river. The river kind of runs. What I found when I zoomed out, because there is properties, that's the median price point. So we've got stuff, if you check out our vlog, we walked by a house that was for sale for $3 million. So you can find mega mansions on golf course, like 7,000 square feet. But there are still pockets. That's what pushes that number real high. We're still getting people into properties in Parkville for about $250, I would say, is a decent house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe 1, maybe 2-car garage, where you can turn the key and start living and don't have to do a whole lot of work. That price just keeps getting pushed up, obviously. The last couple of years of the real estate market has seen some pretty big gains, but you can still find that. It's just when it hits, it goes fast. So a lot of new construction is going in, and and then some of those mega mansions on golf, lakes, really well planned out subdivisions is kind of what pushes that price up. But when I zoomed out to Parkville as a whole, that price came down a little bit, and the average price point went from $480 to $420 with a median price point of $370. So as you can see, if you just want the Parkville school districts, you're almost $100,000 as far as the median price point. Cheaper, it still gets you in there. And like I said, the same scenario applies. We're still able to get, it's kind of the bottom end of that is about $250. And then the sky's the limit, of course, $3 million to be on golf, have golf right in your backyard, and kitchens indoors, kitchens outdoors, more garages than you have cars, and all the sweet things in life, right? They come with the mega mansion. So that's really is the number that's going to take that cost of living way up. It's just the property prices. But we talk about it all the time. When you get A-plus schools, you kind of expect to have a little higher property values because a lot of that's where people want to be, so it's more sought after. So you know, supply and demand, when more people want it, the price goes up when there's a finite amount of that. So that's what exactly what you see in Parkville. The Parkville property tax, which really, it's actually Platte County property tax, is 1.15% of the assessed fair market value. And that's something you just talk about when we get here, but the assessed value is not necessarily the appraised value. So it usually comes in a little bit lower. So it's not like you're buying a $500,000 house. It's not necessarily you're paying $5,000 a year in taxes or just over that. But that's something we can walk you through when you get here and dial that in a little bit. But I know that information's all over every website now. They're posting taxes, so that's easy to get. And I would like to touch on real quick, this isn't necessarily in Parkville, but it's north of the river, and we're just talking like 15 minutes away, is that Facebook or Meta, depending on how you feel about them, but they are planning to put a mega facility in the Northland. It's up off the highway, kind of, it's not, you know, down around all the neighborhoods, but it's up north a little bit, about 15 minutes away. And they are putting it in a 5 million square foot facility or campus where they're gonna do all their, I don't know, Facebook Meta processing stuff. I don't know, but it should bring a ton of jobs. Just the construction alone is gonna bring a lot of people, a lot of jobs, and just really grow the Northland. So there's gonna be a lot of growth coming down the pike. Good time to get here, get ready for that. And the Northland is just a great place to land all in all. So I appreciate you guys watching this all the way to the end. If you have any questions, all our information is in below, and I urge you to reach out anytime. We love chatting with people about this. That's our goal, is just to help you answer any questions, kind of show you around town, show you the good, the bad, the yin and the yang, so you know what you're getting into. So feel free to hit like, it helps other people find it, click subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And I appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you on the next one. Out.